We weren't fully dedicated distribution models either. It was a kind of a secondary business, if you will, and it worked well for that. So again, much like the majority of these we talk about, it really does get back to identifying your particular business processes and understanding those before you start to compare that function.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the WBS Podcast. I'm Sam Gupta, your host and principal consultant at independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm Elevate IQ. Do you know an ERP system that was once considered SAP from the USA? Do you know an ERP system from Oracle that has enterprise-grade capabilities for complex manufacturing organizations? Do you know an ERP system from Oracle that is still supported but may have an uncertain future? Do you know an ERP system from Oracle that has super deep functionality for F&B and pharma-centric industries? If you have guessed Oracle JD Edwards, then you are right. In today's episode, we invited a panel of industry experts for a live discussion on LinkedIn to conduct an independent review of Oracle JD Edwards capabilities. We covered many grounds, including its product architecture, evolution, release deadlines, and how it compares with other products in Oracle's portfolio. Finally, we discussed its strengths with complex manufacturing functionality such as several layers on UOMs, lot and serial numbers, and the process manufacturing functionality. With that, let's get to the conversation. Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. And if you're joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution independently, and we always have an exciting panel who is willing to share their insights and wisdom. For today, we are going to be reviewing a solution called Oracle JD Edwards. It's one of the most popular one. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that. Before we do that, we are going to start with everybody's intros. If you don't know me, I am your host, Sam Gupta, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. On that note, I am going to move to Dave for his intro.
Thanks, Sam. Hi, everybody. My name is Dave Chrysler, and I own an operations consulting business working with leaders in the manufacturing and distribution spaces to help them create systems that free them to drive growth and operate with excellence. And I come to you with more than 20 years of various operational leadership roles, including ERP implementations, including JD Edwards. So excited to be on this panel and have this conversation with you all tonight. Thanks.
And I am excited to hear your stories as well. So thank you so much for being here, Dave. Andy, can I ask you to introduce yourself next?
Absolutely. Thank you, Sam, for inviting me. My name is Andy Pratico. I've been involved in ERP software for all kinds of small to mid-size manufacturers all over North America. And I've written and published a book on how to uncover the truth about ERP software, because I've seen so many challenges over my career. But I've been doing this for 4 decades, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, thank you so much for being here. Andy, if you are in the audience and joining for the first time, make sure you guys post your questions and comments. We typically try to cover them during the show. If we run out of time, we will make sure that you receive your answers. On that note, Andy, Dave, I am going to start with the quick recap of different sessions that we have done related to Oracle. I don't know if we have any of them left in their portfolio. Probably this is the last one. So obviously, we are going to be recapping the corporate strategy based on this session that we have done for Oracle, and then we are going to be comparing this with the products in their portfolio as well as some of the other products that we have in the market. So overall, from the corporate strategy perspective, Oracle, the way they like to think about their products and its strategy always is going to be, for them, the only reason why they are doing ERP is because they want to sell a lot more database. That's their business model. So obviously, anything that they are going to do is going to be very deep into analytics, very deep into the database capabilities as well. The other things that Oracle really appreciates and likes, they like to go after slightly larger accounts, really, really big ones. Most of the products that they have acquired, most of them were very enterprise centric in general. Even though they call JD Edwards as their mid market product, but if you look at the feature set and the functionality that JD Edwards has, I don't know if a lot of systems in the market can really match that. So even their mid-market system is going to be fairly robust in terms of the capabilities that their product is going to have. NetSuite is a different beast altogether in general. NetSuite is a true mid-market product that they have recently acquired. Obviously, now it's not recent anymore. I think they acquired in 2008. So it's been like what now? 14 years? So yeah, so that's probably the most mid-market solution that they really have. Now, from their industry perspective, their target market has always been the industry that are going to be really big on Java because that's their bread and butter, and the Oracle database, that's their bread and butter as well. So anything and everything that they are going to be doing, that is going to be around Java. And if you look at the Java ecosystem, and typically I like to think that most of the corporation, when you look at the IT divide, it's always going to be .NET versus Java. That's when traditional divide in the IT world. Now we have a lot more programming languages that are probably equally popular. But overall, from the enterprise system perspective, there were traditionally two languages. Even today, I think there is a clear divide in the market. Either it is going to be very Microsoft penetrated or it's going to be very Oracle penetrated in general. If you look at, obviously, Java, the way it is designed, it's supposed to be enterprise grade. It's supposed to be bulletproof in general in terms of security. So obviously, their main focus is going to be for the industries that are really going to care for that enterprise security, and that's how most of their products are built as well. If you look at the underlying security model, the way their GLs are structured, it's going to have very deep and robust security built as part of the product, the way they are going to be designing their data model. So overall, from the industry perspective, this also drives which industries they are going to target. So obviously, their primary ones always have been banking, financials, professional services, oil and gas, energy, utility, construction a little bit, and now with the acquisition of Cerner, obviously healthcare as well. But all of these industries are also going to be very, very, very deep into custom development, because for their operations, they can't just buy an ERP and run their operations. There's no way in the hell a telco company can do that. And they are probably going to have 2,000 apps internally that they need to maintain for as part of their product offering as well, along with their business processes. So that's the overall mindset that they have. Now, let's compare this product, JD Edwards, with some of the other products in their portfolio. So obviously, this came as part of the acquisition. And Dave, I don't know whether you remember this or not. Last time we were having fun with this particular product when we thought that, you know what, they had acquired PeopleSoft, but they had also acquired JD Edwards, and then they sort of ended up renaming JD Edwards, or giving JD Edwards branding. No, PeopleSoft's branding to JD Edwards. We were thinking that they called PeopleSoft Enterprise One just because PeopleSoft was much bigger brand overall. But now when I look at the Wikipedia page for JD Edwards, they are claiming that no, this is JD Edwards Enterprise One. So they try to rebrand, but I don't think the rebranding actually got through. So there's a clear divide in the market. Some people think that this is supposed to be more of the PeopleSoft Enterprise One versus JD Edwards Enterprise One. Dave, if you can have any comments there, I can take them.
Yeah, there was a period of time where that branding was, JD Edwards, PeopleSoft, but that's probably been eight 8 years ago now, something like that, in that time frame, 8 to 10 years ago. And that's, directly from the application environment. So
Exactly. So on this product, obviously, the reason why they had acquired this product is because they wanted to tap into the mid market. And if you look at the NetSuite acquisition versus JD Edwards acquisition, they were quite near, and which is kind of fascinating for me because they acquired NetSuite in 2008. This was somewhere around 1999 from 2005 or somewhere around that. I mean, the time that they could acquire Oracle JD Edwards, I think NetSuite was already there in the market. So I don't know why they were so interested in this product, because obviously they sort of ended up killing this one. Right now, it is still on the roadmap, but I don't know if they are actively selling at this point of time or not. But if you look at the overall product architecture, this is the most manufacturing product that you are going to find inside Oracle portfolio. And I mean, the way the product is designed is just mind blowing. It's designed really, really well that I have not seen in any other products. I mean, when I look at even Oracle Cloud or the Oracle Cloud ERP, it comes across as very service-centric product. It does not come across as the manufacturing product. We looked at PeopleSoft. PeopleSoft was very service-centric product. I mean, we were not getting the feel of sort of the manufacturing distribution centric ERP. Even NetSuite. I mean, NetSuite is great. There's no question about that. But you cannot really use NetSuite for the industrial distribution manufacturing. When you are going to have really deep manufacturing distribution, that's where NetSuite is probably going to struggle. But boy, JD Edwards, it has some serious functionality for manufacturing. And honestly speaking, when I look at this product, to be honest, I don't know if I have seen similar products, obviously, except SAP, which is probably going to have one of the most complex functionality for the manufacturing distribution organization. This is probably the most robust after SAP in my mind. Any comments, guys? Andy?
No, I think you got it covered. I mean, you've got your SAP, you've got your Oracle. Those are the two big boys, and it's interesting you were commenting that they see themselves as targeting the mid market. That's obviously relative to how you define what the mid market is, because their top end product is obviously targeted at Fortune 1,000 size companies. So I guess anything below that they think is mid market.
Yeah, originally, and I don't know, Dave, if you're going to have data on that and the kind of companies that you have seen, but I have seen JD Edwards being installed in decent sized companies. I mean, where Acumatica and NetSuite are playing at this point of time.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well, Sam. 3 to 700 million, and just depending on how the setup is in terms of the functionality. So that's where I have the most experience with this product at.
Yeah, and the other layer that I would like to add is, even though JD Edwards is a very manufacturing centric product, I have seen it being installed in a lot of different industries. And sometimes that blows my mind, because, you have such strong products in Oracle portfolio, then why are they selling JD Edwards to, let's say, the architectural company or to an university? They should be selling the other products, which are going to be slightly stronger for those verticals. So, yeah. So I think their segmentation was more like, okay, anything mid-market is going to go for Oracle JD Edwards. And Andy, I don't know if there is a clear definition, to be honest, of mid-market.
Everyone has their own definition of what mid-market means.
Yep, I completely agree. So the other comments that I wanted to make about this one is when they started sort of thinking, and when the JD Edwards product was on rise in the US, there were probably two different products that were really integrated. I mean, before that, all of them were primarily mainframe, based. I think RPG was the only programming language that was there in the market. So even today, Oracle JD Edwards is very legacy overall in terms of the technology, the kind of technology that it uses. I don't think it has been modernized to the modern stack that you are going to find either with NetSuite or Oracle ERP Cloud. So underneath, it's going to be very similar experience that you are going to get with a lot of different legacy products, that underneath they are using just the, even in the Epicor portfolio, we have seen, like, underneath they are really mainframe. The only thing they have done is some sort of UI, and that is powered through your what is that called? The screen scraper, I guess, right? That is the technology that they use to be to emulate the terminals and to get the data. So it's a very interesting mix there. I don't know how I would feel, to be honest, in using the ERP system that is going to be using that technology and how reliable that is. But a lot of ERP systems in the market, they use that to plug in with those terminals that you had in the AS400 world, and you are probably going to see the fancy UI.
Yeah,
Dave,
I would agree with that 100%, Sam. I mean, most people wouldn't realize what the underlying technology is and how old it is because out of all of the systems, at least that I've kind of personally interacted with, I would say that this is one of the better ones in terms of that UI and that functionality, where they're making it feel like it's a much different back end experience than if you really uncovered what was going on back there. So I think they do a really great job of that, and it'll be interesting to see how that ultimately moves forward and what they decide from a product roadmap standpoint. Because I do think that there's a tremendous amount of functionality built in and flexibility built in that this can be applied in many different scenarios.
Exactly. And the other comment that I'm going to make here is I'm almost shocked. I mean, people chalk how salesy Oracle is overall as a company. But I believe if you look at the technology stack, to be honest, a lot of companies are selling really outdated, clunky technology, and they are calling it as cloud native. I think Oracle is the only company that is saying that, what, JD Edwards is out. I only want to sell cloud native or the modern cloud stack, even though if you look at JD Edwards as of today, to be honest, from the UI perspective, it's going to be very comparable to many other systems that we have that are going to be sort of legacy, but they are trying to claim they are cloud native.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
All right, guys. So if you guys don't have any other comments, I will move to the slide. So here we have some more commentary related to JD Edwards. So this is the acquisition story. I guess, we have covered this as part of our other session. So we are going to probably skip a little bit of history here, but some interesting details related to their tech stack. So here they are talking about, originally, obviously, it was built for IBM AS400 mini computers. That was the tech stack that they were using. And then they switched to the CNC architecture, and they are calling it as your client, server-fed client. And then they finally ended up doing a web-based thin client. But even today, I don't think they are using RPG underneath a lot of it. I don't think the code has been completely re-architected for the newer tech stack, based on Java. They have not done that. So here, a little bit of history about their acquisition. So they are saying JD Edwards agreed to sell itself to PeopleSoft, and there was a little, mix there. I think we have covered that as well during our session. But I believe they ended up acquiring this somewhere in 2005. Some more commentary here, as the majority of JD Edwards customers were medium-sized companies. Clients did not have large-scale software implementations. There was a basic business need for all accounting to be tightly integrated. And before that, integrating accounting was a big deal in general. So I guess this was when you look at the enterprise, when they called the JD Edwards enterprise, that's when they sort of, started integrating the accounting. And that was a big deal because a lot of systems were failing. In fact, if you look at the journey of JD Edwards, initially the founder had to come back. The founder retired, came back because they were not able to pull off the workload of the integrated processes. And that's where the real problem is. If you are doing the siloed accounting, no big deal. Siloed production, no big deal. When you try to integrate everything, that's where the real challenge is. So here, some more history. Yeah, so I think they are talking about how traditional ERP system was done, that, you were simply utilizing it for accounting payroll. Nobody was really doing the integrated. And SAP was more of the European solution. And JD Edwards had the same advantage. That's what they are talking about, for the smaller companies. But they were targeting the similar companies, I guess. For SAP, they are saying that the companies were smaller in size because obviously the European companies were slightly smaller. The JD Edwards was able to pull off the same workload, so which is very interesting history in my mind. Some more history here. So this is they are saying development began using System 34. And Andy, I don't know if you remember all of these technical stack. I wasn't around back then, to be honest. Okay.
Yeah, no, the 34 and the 36 were their mini computers at the time,
Yeah, yeah.
using the
So
RPG language with IBM.
yeah, yeah. I think the most recent that I had used was probably DOS, was the and on Windows. Yeah, I guess that was the first one that I used. I mean, at that time, I don't think there used to be a UI, but no mainframe as such in my past life. Okay, so here they are saying, changing course in the mid 90s, System 38, later switching to AS400 platform. Some more technical details here, but obviously they were all green screen. And we still have a lot of implementations related to green screen. It's just mind blowing that it's been 60 years, but people are not able to move away from those. Then I think the whole CNC architecture, that's where it became really platform independent. And JD Edwards was one of the software that they could actually make it more of the platform independent with integrated accounting, and that was the power. So in 1998, JD Edwards has roughly 26 one world customers, and one world is the integrated experience. And I don't think before that anybody could pull off the integrated experience. Was moving to medium-sized customers to the new client server flavor of ERP by second quarter 1998. JDE had 48 customers by 2020. 2001, the company had 600 customers. Yeah, and that was the huge hit overall. The way the company grew, and this is probably the oldest one, probably older than your experience, Andy. I don't know when you started selling, but this has been there for very very long time.
1981, Sam.
1981. So JD Edwards probably wasn't there.
PeopleSoft definitely was. JD Edwards might not have been. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but it certainly became popular in the late 80s and in the 90s.
So my recollection, based on, and we can review the dates, I guess JD Edwards was 1977. JD Edwards started before
Okay.
PeopleSoft. That's my understanding, but I could be off. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. So here, within a year of the release of One World customers, industry analysts were discussing serious reliability, unpredictability, and bug-related issues. And there were a lot of problems when One World really started. At that time, again, nobody could pull off that integrated experience, I believe, except SAP. And here they have some more details. A new web-based client in which the user accesses JD Edwards software through their web browser was introduced in 2001. So 2001 is where they got the UI. But think of the dates, right? 2001, 2008, we have NetSuite, which is just mind-blowing. Right? Because we have the cloud native development now. And before that, they were not even able to do the ERP, I guess. So here they are talking about application version number 810 in 2005. Some more details. Do we have anything else? So they started doing a little bit of AI XML based systems that were common around that time as well. 99, 2001, I think that's the era. In June 2003, JD Edwards board agreed to an offer, and this is the date when they sort of agreed with Oracle, I guess, in 2005. So they took roughly 5 years overall in that transaction itself, and that's what must have caused the delay for Oracle as well. They were thinking to acquire this in 1999. So they would probably get 10 years, but they lost some because of the transaction itself. Okay, not much here. So let's move to the next one. Okay, some more interesting details here. So JD Edwards One World software transforms the buying and selling. So, okay, so there are some very, very, very interesting, correlations here. And I don't know whether you guys knew this or not. They were collaborating a lot with SAP Ariba, which is just fascinating for me. I don't know, that was before Ariba was bought by SAP. And I remember the case study that we did in our business school. I guess the date that the year was roughly 1999, I guess, for Ariba. That's when they became really hot. But I don't know when SAP acquired them. But seems like JD Edwards was actually collaborating with them very closely. And one of the things, and I am actually blown away. So they were not able to pull off the integrated accounting, but they were trying to do a lot of vendor collaboration during those days. Can you believe this? Okay. That is just mind blowing. That why would you try the vendor collaboration when you are not able to do your internal processes first? But here they are trying to say through its partnership with industry leaders such as Ariba Incorporation, Siebel Systems, and through the acquisition this year of Numetrix Limited, and I don't know, Andy, if you are familiar with that organization. No, JD Edwards delivers uniquely robust and agile functionality in the areas of self-service, customer relationship management, e-procurement, and supply chain management. So that's where their play was. They were really deep into supply chain overall when they started. Okay, so in terms of ranking, I think they used to rank roughly at number 4, but they lost some time, I guess. And there was a little history there between JBA International, and I don't know, Andy, if you remember JBA International. That was, what was that? That was ERP company as well, I believe, right? Or supply chain system.
JBA, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was another product that was, it was a competitor to JDE, but it was also on the IBM 34s and 36s and eventually into the ACE400.
Yeah, very interesting. So obviously that it could be very confusing with JDA. JDA is another
very
company.
confusing at the time.
Yeah. So interesting details here. So here are some more details. We generally recommend JD Edwards in an enterprise application selection long list for mid-market and low and tier 1 companies. So okay, so you have the figures here, Andy. Okay, so we have very specific figure, and that is 100 million to roughly $2 billion in revenue. That was their target positioning. So now, yeah, they heard you. Okay, so some more commentary here. Okay, so I think there were some challenges overall in terms of shoehorning the JD Edwards application. So I don't know whether you guys remember this whole idea of creating the Fusion applications. The reason why Oracle wanted to create the Fusion applications is because all of these acquisitions came and they wanted to combine all of that in one product. Okay, but then there was a little resistance from the customers because your service and product industries, they are entirely different. Okay, the way the products appear, they are very different. It's very hard to shoehorn product business model into your service business model. You can sort of pretend when you are going to be, let's say, 80-90% product and maybe 10%, 20% service. You can probably pretend that, okay, you can somehow manage the service business model. But if you are pure play service model and then you are trying to utilize manufacturing product, good luck with that. You are literally going to hate it. So that was the challenge that Oracle had, that this was the true your manufacturing product. And when they started selling Oracle ERP Cloud or Oracle Fusion application, I think it was really challenging for them. So here, some more commentary. This is the RPG, commentary, I guess. But during those days, at least, JD Edwards was probably on modern technology. Other products were not. RPG was supposed to be modern those days. Okay, so that do we have here? I think that's pretty good on this one. Anything else here? No, I don't see anything relevant. That's pretty good. Okay, so now let's look at their screens. And when you look at these screens, when you are going to be thinking about green screens, AS400, then you are thinking in your head that it's probably going to be really ugly. But if you look at the JD Edwards product, even today, it's one of the best. I mean, it's very hard to differentiate between your Oracle ERP Cloud and JD Edwards. Once you start using it, then you might feel that, some of these screens are a little clunky, but that's what you are going to feel with most products that are going to be legacy in the market, because they all are using the legacy technologies in the back end. They somehow have figured out, how to port this on cloud and pretend to be cloud. But here with JD Edwards, I mean, Oracle is being really honest in this particular case, which is really commendable. But the funniest part that you're going to find, Dave, is, okay, even these guys are talking about low code, no code. Okay, deal with it. Okay, so the product is being shut down, but these guys are talking about low code, no code, which is just, again, fascinating, because you are trying to pretend that you have one of the most exciting technology, and the customers are not going to know, whether this is really a new technology or old technology. So I don't like it, the way low code and no code is positioned for this product, but obviously they can integrate a lot of things, and they have probably sort of plugged a lot of low code, no code capabilities on top of your traditional technology, and that's why they are able to do all of this. If you look at their low code, no code architecture as well, one of the things that you're going to find with Oracle, everything is driven by table and views. That's how Oracle likes to think. Okay, you are not going to find table and views in any other products. But here, even your events are driven by your table and views, just because Oracle is a very database centric company in general. That's how they like to think. Now look at that screen. Okay, so you guys are probably going to get a feeling of IFS here. Okay, it's that pretty. Even your Infor and Epicor are probably not going to be as pretty, to be honest. Overall, in terms of the UI. Okay, so that's how sexy this is, and again, commendable that Oracle is not trying to promote this product. Other vendors in the market, they are promoting very clunky technology, just because they don't have an option, I guess, to be able to promote the cloud native product. So here, I don't know if I have, but overall, from the layout perspective, it's very elegant the way it is designed. Now, some of the things overall, when you are going to look at, let's say, the menu structure. Sorry, Dave, you have a comment?
No, I was just going to add to that, Sam. I mean, the screen captures that you've got throughout the deck, and kind of your commentary about how great it looks. I mean, what I would say from kind of firsthand experience is a lot of that is relatively new. Early on, so like mid 2000s and even into the late 2000s, a lot of that functionality did not exist. So that is relatively recent in, I think, maybe either in I'm not sure of the revision structure in there, but I would say probably within the last 2 or 3 major revisions has this kind of come to be. And it makes a significant difference, from an evaluation standpoint, because to your point, you get that look and feel of something brand new when the reality of it is, this is built on, an extremely old technology platform.
Yeah. So just to be clear, Dave, and I struggle with this one as well. When companies are going to be using on-prem versions, typically they are going to be 2-3 versions behind because they don't really upgrade. So even if I don't know when Oracle started commercializing this, but even today, if I look at companies that are, let's say, using Epicor Profit 21, or Epicor Profit 21 may have advanced. I mean, that might look really new if I look at the new demo or if I talk to Epicor as of today. But the customer that they might be using 5 version old software, and that could be really clunky. So yeah, so it could be the customer as well. So here, I guess when you are in the demo, this is where I want you to pay attention, okay? If you are evaluating the software, because there are places where you can find whether the technology is clunky or not. And that's what you're going to find the way their buttons are designed. So they can probably change the screens, but the buttons are probably going to be really bloated, clunky, fat, the way they are going to appear in terms of design. Okay, because probably that's very hard to change in general. The layout is going to be very clunky as well. So if the layout perceives as very windowy, then that's where you can figure out whether this is going to be a legacy architecture or the new architecture. Menu structure, when you are going to be looking at the icons, obviously that's going to have very legacy feeling as well. And as you can clearly see, even in this one, the buttons look as if they are Windows 98. That's how the buttons are appearing here. But overall, when you look at the screens, especially for the spreadsheet one, where you are going to have the item master, this is very similar experience to your Infor LN, Infor CSI. In my mind, the way these screens are designed, even probably better experience here, and I'm just blown away that even in the clunky technology that they are able to replicate the same experience here. Some of the key pieces of functionality, I would say, sales code, never seen before. Line types, which is again very detailed functionality that you are probably going to find only in enterprise-centric system. Family code, very food-centric functionality that we have seen in a lot of different ERP system. And then purchase code at the line level or the item level. It's very interesting that they have at least 5 to 6 different sales and purchase code associated at the item level, which is just mind blowing. Very, very, very deep functionality that I don't recall seeing even in SAP. I'm pretty sure SAP is probably going to have it. But this is still very deep in general. Okay, so some more key pieces of functionality, things such as the package flag. And JD Edwards used to sell a lot in the pharma verticals as well. Okay, so obviously pharma has very different needs overall the way it works. Whether you are talking about DSCSA requirements, whether you are talking about the way your lots and serial numbers are structured obviously you need both lot and serial number, and sometimes you probably need 5 different numbers associated with the product. And a lot of ERP systems cannot accommodate that. JD Edwards has far a lot more layers at the item level built as part of the technology, that you didn't have to mess with the code to be able to get that. But obviously, if you have to go to IT, then good luck with that, because you are dealing with a very clunky technology. But JD Edwards in general was very configurable product. Here we have some of the interesting, and guys, you can comment as well if you have seen these things before. For me, this is very new. So you talk about sales price level, purchase price level, and again you are looking at the code. Sure, the code is there, but again this seems slightly deeper than that. Then you have the configurator pricing method, which is a separate drop down. The configurator costing method, which is a separate drop down. Then commitment method. Then you have the item flash message, and then UM conversion is probably okay. So in my mind, I think it's very, very, very unique piece of functionality. No comments. Then I will keep moving. So here I have some more basket reprice group. Never seen that before. Again, maybe that's very common in your food and pharma industry, but this is the first time I've noticed a basket reprice group. Then order reprice group, that's very different. Okay, so I don't know whether basket is really a kit item, but I don't know why that would be captured at the item level. I'm pretty sure they have different kits, but they have the basket reprice as well. Dispatch group. By the way, this product had very deeply integrated TMS processes. Okay, you are only going to find TMS processes in the enterprise level product. Mid-market products don't have TMS processes. Okay, so you are looking at 3 or 4 max. Okay, those are the ones that are going to have TMS processes. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. This is probably the only mid-market product that has very, very, very strong and deep TMS processes. Oracle was always deep into TMS because they used to work a lot in 3PL space as well. So they needed that. Okay, cross-docking, again, you're looking at very enterprise product that is probably going to support that. You have the ranking of the inventory, margin, then the investment in inventory. Never ever seen that before. Dual tolerance percentage, which is again very, very unique. Look at the number of layers that they have for the unit of measure as well. I have probably seen 4 or 5. Even with SAP, if I recall, that they probably had 6 max. That's probably what my recollection is. But here I can see 8. Okay, so you have primary, secondary, purchasing, pricing, shipping, production, component, weight, and volume. Can you believe this? And this is at the item level, all of them. Okay, so a lot of layers overall in terms of the serial and lot number capabilities as well. But again, this product was utilized for very large pharma companies, and that's why they would probably need a lot of this functionality. So that's why you have the serial number required, lot status code, lot process type. Probably Sage X3 has that. Never seen that before. Country of origin, common with most products. Commitment date method, shelf life is common. Best before, sell, buy. But all of them together, again, you are probably going to find in the enterprise products. Manufacturing effective days, purchasing effective days. Now, this is the sort of the customization experience, and this is very, very, very similar to Infor in my mind, the way this is done. And typically, the difference between your enterprise product versus your mid-market product is going to be, you are probably not going to have user level personalization. Okay, that's very different. So in the case of JD Edwards, you have the user level personalization. Now, should you use them? Probably not. Okay, I personally don't recommend that everybody should have their pink or green screen for whatever reason. But still, you have that capability supported. Let's say you have a bunch of group of users for them. You simply want to promote a functionality, you at least have that capability.
Yeah, that's exactly where I've seen value with that part, Sam, is you can create those views and then push them out to specific user groups based on, process execution, functionality, what have you. And in those instances, it does become very useful and valid, because one thing I would say from the user experience standpoint, because of the complexity and functionality, it is very easy to get lost. And there are multiple ways to get to the same place. And so that was something that, from that user experience and training standpoint, that was something we were constantly evaluating and working to improve, because again, it was very easy, especially when you had somebody new just coming on board that maybe wasn't already familiar with the business processes. They've got two things that they're trying to learn simultaneously. So that's the instance where it becomes very useful. Same thing with the menu structure and those types of things. Setting up favorites and all of that just makes that user the training aspect and the usability that much more functional.
Could not agree more. And by the way, internal A/B testing, let's say if you are trying to promote any sort of features, I think it's super helpful. So thank you so much, Dave, for that. If you guys don't have any other comments, some more comments related to functionality. Now, sold to and shipped to at the same time on the sales order level. Again, very interesting functionality, right? Because you are going to have a different customer who's paying, then you are shipping to a different, sort of customer. Sometimes you have that functionality, but again, you are looking at upper mid product that probably supports that. Branch plant, again, you are probably going to have 2-3 layers in most products. This probably can support 5 or 6 different layers. When you are going to have plant, branch, site, entity, division, department, country, business unit. So those are the levels that we are talking about. Hold code is very interesting. Never seen that before. Secondary quantity, secondary unit of measure. Very interesting. I don't know where you would use that. But again, you have a lot. Scheduled, pick date, requested date, line, advisor, priority. Priorities, again, you are looking at enterprise product. You're not going to find priority with the smaller product. Some might do it, but they are probably going to be mom and pop. And they don't do the other things as well, in my opinion. They simply have that. But this is going to be inbuilt as part of your MRP planning, the way this is done, which is just outstanding. This is the BI overview, the way they're, you are going to get the BI publisher with most of their products. That's how Oracle like to think. They want you to use a lot more BI. A lot of other vendors have started doing this. Infor is pushing Burst, I guess, right? And then Appicore has their own BI tool that they like to publish. Microsoft Power BI, a lot of other vendors, Power BI. Rootstock probably is going to have Tableau because that's what Salesforce. So most vendors have some sort of BI solution built as part of that. But Oracle, obviously, they started doing this because it started all with Hyperion. That was really deep overall in terms of planning and budgeting. Now, this is the TMS process. And if you look at the depth of the TMS process, again, I don't know if I have seen this integrated experience, to be honest, okay? SAP, Microsoft, I recall that they are probably going to have. Oracle in general, they have very deeply integrated TMS process. And here, we are not just talking about, shipping your shipment. Here, we are talking about intermodal planning, where you are probably going to use a specialized, third-party TMS tool. Now, there is a sort of argument to be made, whether you want to use third-party WMS TMS, because your ERP architecture is probably not going to be similar to your WMS architecture, because you are going to be collaborating with a lot of, 3PLs, and you are going to have many different warehouses. So I don't know which one is the better architecture. I like both. To be honest, they both have a place. But I do like the integrated experience.
The one thing I would add to that, Sam, is, the installations that I was a part of, we utilized some of the integrated TMS, but also had some third-party integration. And, in some sense, it was a bit clunky the way that it worked, kind of to your point.
Yeah.
So, while there is a fairly deep functionality in there, again, it gets back to what are those business processes that you need to execute and how does it work for that. Same thing on the WMS side. In the instances that I'm familiar with, we actually did utilize all of the internal capabilities there, and it worked well with our business processes, but we weren't, fully dedicated distribution models either. It was a, kind of a secondary business, if you will, and it worked well for that. So again, much like the majority of these we talk about, it really does get back to identifying your particular business processes and understanding those before you start to compare that functionality.
Could not agree more. Thank you so much for those insights, Dave. So let's cover some more some reviews, and then we can open up for the commentary. So here we have the customer example. Here we are talking about roughly 1,000 to 5,000 employees, which is probably Sage is probably not going to have any product because they don't have numbering. In their product line. Here we are talking about, okay, anybody who's going to outgrow Sage, they probably come to Oracle. So we are talking about, the industry is chemicals here, company sizes 1,000 to 5,000, which is probably aligned with what JD Edwards is really good at. In my mind, JD Edwards was very strong in food, agriculture, process-centric, processes, but the way the product is designed, it seems that they are probably equally strong with the discrete manufacturing as well. So they are talking about 12 years as a key user, as it is easy to customize when you need to update or upgrade the ERP. Then we have one more review here. They are saying 200 to 500 employees, oil and energy. My expectation is going to be that this user is probably going to find this overwhelming. So what is the commentary here? So they are saying JDE requires a good amount of IT help to make any updates or adjustments. This leads to upgrades happening slower than we would like. Apicor was no longer able to grow with us as our growth escalated. Now, I want to be a little careful here before calling out Apicor in this particular case, because we don't know which product they were using. So sometimes you are going to be using very small product and you are going to call out Apicor, which is probably not fair to them. So here, obviously they outgrew Apicor, but they are also complaining that this product was difficult, which is slightly conflicting in my opinion. This is probably, in my mind, when I look at these screens right now, it's probably the easier one. But Dave, to your comment, if you look at the older screen, probably it's going to be slightly more difficult. Some more commentary here. This is the company that has roughly 10,000 employees, which is probably aligned. That's where I would feel JD Edwards is going to do wonders. But this is the civil engineering. Now, my question is going to be, what is JD Edwards doing in civil engineering? It's probably not a fit. So let's see what they are using it for. So they are saying a majority of our cost controls, revenue claiming, change events, forecasting, purchase order processing, and then they are saying forecasting modules used for JDE are amazing. It allows us to use best practices for claiming forecasted cost and revenues. Without a doubt, their UI needs improvement. Okay, so they are calling out UI, but again, we don't know which version they were on. So it's very hard to, evaluate this comment. But overall, I think the users who are using it, they will feel that the UI is clunky in general. Okay, so this user is complaining about security for some reason, and I don't know why that is. In my mind, I think JDE would probably have very robust security. So maybe evaluate there why this user is complaining that. Then there are a lot of people extremely turned off by all customization allowable within each module. So yeah, so don't customize. Why are you customizing? If people are mad, that's a good thing.
Well, that gets into that previous comment too, Sam, because from the user standpoint, they do have the ability to customize the view of those tables and menu access and all that. And, sometimes things get lost that way. And so I think that potentially could be keying in on that point.
Maybe this guy was responsible for ERP and he had to manage. It must be a nightmare for him. That's why he's complaining about that. Okay. Some more commentary here. So this is the continuation of this comment itself. So here this user is saying pay a large amount of money to get this in contract in the order of $10 to $50 million. Can you believe this, guys? And obviously this is a very enterprise-centric company, but $10 to $50 million is still very high. It was a bumpy start and a bit clunky initially, but I can say now that it's definitely worth the investment. So this person is liking it. Civil engineering is liking it, which is mind-blowing in my mind. Obviously, they did not have some functionality that they're complaining, punching, etc. But, that's okay, I guess. Okay, so here, this is the company, retail company, 1,000 to 5,000 employees. In my mind, I think this is going to be a fit in general. So here they are saying they have roughly 6 business units in purchasing all of raw materials for manufacturing as well as corporate expenses and vendor management. It is also used for manufacturing management for 2 business units. So obviously, again, very global business model, different types of business that they are able to accommodate in one system. That's where, in my mind, JD Edwards is going to shine. The second user also reported that interface is aging. So this is a consistent issue that we have. It still feels like a 90s application. It does not provide the quick augmentation option like what is found in NetSuite or cloud apps. So they sort of have a taste of the cloud native development. That's why the user is complaining about built to run on mini or mainframe environments. And I am actually shocked that we never can get this kind of commentary. Let's say if you look at really legacy product, for example, Epicor Eclipse, that was a really clunky product, but users were really happy there. So I don't know, what's going on, why they are happy with that and not happy with JD Edwards. So I just don't understand. Here they are saying JD Edwards Enterprise One is excellent when you are looking for multiple smaller businesses to roll into another business for reporting and consolidation, which is what is the right fit in my mind. One more company, government administration. Why would you sell to government administration? That does not make a lot of sense. 1,000 to 5,000 employees when you have another product, which is probably far superior fit for this. So here they are saying Oracle JD Edwards Enterprise One can improve the routing of job plans through SAS and also increase the 30 character limitation. It has for the part descriptions that would be very helpful. So they have some sort of limitation. I have heard this in the case of SAP as well, that they have a lot of limitations overall in their part numbering scheme. Sometimes that is to mandate, but description, I really don't get it. I mean, why you would have limitation for description? That's does not make a ton of sense. User interface of the ERP needs to be more. So again, third comment on that, you will get excellent support from them. So okay, they are liking Oracle support. Some more commentary. Now this is the right fit. Electronic manufacturing company, 5,000 to 10,000 employees. They are complaining there are gaps that seem unfathomable to have. Even does not allow us to ability to track a manufacturer of a part from creation to interco sales to the ultimate customer. Not too sure what's going on there, right, Dave?
Yeah, that it for sure has that functionality. I personally have used it.
Yeah.
So I think that probably comes back down to business process. Maybe there was something specific or unique about how that process would typically flow that provided some sort of limited visibility for them. But that is something the one thing I would add that maybe would highlight that is part of that process was a bit clunky in terms of the multiple touches and how you were creating, that intercompany move and generating sales orders, closing all of that out. So there are multiple steps to the process, but for sure it had the functionality, maybe not as elegant as one would like though.
Yeah, two issues, I guess. Training, number two, is going to be licensing as well. Sometimes, these things are going to be limited by your license. So I don't know, that could be a possibility.
Yeah, good point.
It is interesting what the size of the number of employees each of these companies have, though.
Yeah, could not agree more.
1,000 to 10,000 employees.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to have some more commentary there in terms of what you are thinking?
No, and it goes back to the original, to what we've all been saying throughout this past hour, is that Oracle is a world-class ERP system. It's been around for a long time, and it's evolved and blended in with many other world-class ERPs to have what they offer today. It's obviously targeted at larger companies mostly. If we can say mid-size is 100 million to 2 billion, but I'll bet you their sweet spot is probably 500 million to 2 billion. But Dave, do you have some more comments?
Yeah, I mean, just tacking onto what you'd say, I agree with you in terms of kind of revenue band and company size. The experience that I have, the employee numbers were smaller than that, but again, it all depends on what the business is. It was an environment where I think one of the user commented in terms of several smaller businesses that rolled up into business units and ultimately into several different entities, and it was great for that. the environment I'm used to working in throughout JD Edwards. We, had standard cost implemented. It was in a manufacturing environment, and I can attest to the power of the data that it provided. Definitely some intricacies when it came to that training, that user interface. I was kind of surprised by the one comment about the the security aspect, because I always took it, even having experience outside of JD Edwards, like I always took their user roles and kind of ability to control that as pretty robust.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see that, maybe again something with the implementation itself. But yeah, I think it's a very feature rich solution. And again, like we say many times, right? When you have the right infrastructure and you understand your business processes, when you can get those two things in alignment, and you go through these sales demos and planning process, this is a great fit for the right type of organization. A lot of flexibility, a lot of power, and in some cases probably people don't utilize nearly what they could from a capability standpoint. That kind of comes natively, right? So
it's interesting that Anders, who's seems to be a pretty common a member of the audience in these sessions, which is wonderful, but him calling the low code, no code screen logic extensions, because when I saw that screen, I thought that logic extension screen was describing workflow, which I thought, wow, this logic extensions is a really interesting way to describe workflow. But maybe I misread it, because it actually looks like it was actually coding that I was with the screen we were looking at.
Yeah, so I think it's really okay, so when you say workflow, I want to be a little careful there. So workflow is going to be more of, if you're implementing more of the approval process, that's
logic,
the kind of workflow.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. I think that's exactly what it was. And that was the purpose.
Yeah, what a great name for it, though. Logic extensions. I thought, wow, what a great marketing name.
Exactly. Some more comments here. Do you guys want to touch these comments?
Yeah, this one caught my eye too, and again, I can speak from the experience that I had and how the line types were utilized in that environment, and it was really to make a distinguishment or a determination in terms of how those orders came to be. So if it was a kitted order, a configured order, if it was a pick and pack, something like that, that's how the line items were implemented in the instances that I'm most familiar with. And in terms of, invoice style, how that applies to clients, customers and or ship points, right? You could control that at the branch plant level. You could control it at customer and or the ship point. Obviously, there is some additional integration to be able to execute that, but that's, again, how it was implemented in the instances I'm familiar with. So pretty deep functionality.
Okay, do you guys want to touch this one as well quickly?
Yeah, this one I am not positive about. I didn't happen to see that. The one thing I can add to this comment, Anders, is that one of the installations that I'm familiar with was in a barcoded and numbered documents product line. So think chain of custody, medical chain of custody, transportation chain of custody, those types of things. And a lot of that kind of number sequence, barcoding, all of that was handled externally because we could not find a good business process internally. Through a combination of kind of additional, programming, if you will, and or kind of static fields that already lived in the system. So all of that was handled externally. I don't know if that really answers this question, but that was my experience.
Andy, do you have any commentary on this question before we close?
No, I do not. Sorry, Sam.
Okay. Any other commentary, guys, before we close? All right, guys, that's it for today. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We are going to come back with another vendor or the solution. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks so
Andy.
much.
I cannot thank our guests enough for coming on the show, for sharing their knowledge and journey. I always pick up learnings from our guests, and hopefully you learned something new today. If you want to learn more about Dave Chrysler, head over to thechrysler.club, CHECRYSLER.CLUB. If you want to learn more about Andy Pratico, head over to essoft.com. It's ESSOFT.com. Links and more information will also be available in the show notes. If anything in this podcast resonated with you and your business, you might want to check other related episodes, including the interview with Thomas Clymer, who shares his insights into the automated testing for ERP. Also, the interview with Richard Labobis, who shares his insights into procurement prioritization and its impact on scheduling and inventory. Also, don't forget to subscribe and spread the word among folks with similar backgrounds. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please review and rate us on your favorite podcasting platform or DM me on any social channels. I'll try my best to respond personally and make sure you get help. Thank you, and I hope to get you on the next episode of the WBS Podcast.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.